Fred is now in Grimm's room, looking somewhat reluctant because he has to meet Grims. Grims proudly shows off his new red shirt and blue bowtie. With confidence, Grims invites Fred to take a selfie together. Fred reluctantly agrees and they take a selfie. However, Fred quickly asks Grims to get to the important matter at hand, as Grims had invited him there to discuss something. As it turns out, Grims wants to talk about the recent explosion at the Kingdom's office, which he considers an act of terrorism. Grims is suspicious as to why this happened just when the Republic and the Kingdom were about to cooperate for peace. Fred responds that peace may not be an option, as the Kingdom does not approve of the Republic's way of organizing things. Grims retorts that war between the Republic and the Kingdom will ensue if there is no peace agreement between them. Grims mentions that the Republic is benefiting from having Leo on their side, and as long as he's there, conventional attacks won't work. Fred then counters that if Leo were to disappear willingly, the Republic would lose its strength and crumble. Grims acknowledges that such a possibility exists but believes it's best to consider it for now. Grims entrusts Fred and the other heroes to handle it. He mentions that Max can no longer be relied upon, and Yuria has retired for a long time. Fred asserts that he alone is sufficient to deal with Leo. Grims then shares a story about a close friend from his past who was in the same class and joined the Magic Bureau together. His friend consistently outperformed Grims and kept getting promoted. However, one day, Grims caught his friend cheating. Grims spread the information worldwide, and naturally his friend's career was ruined and he lost everything. Fred responds that this was the moment Grims replaced his friend and quickly rose to success. Grims doesn't confirm or deny Fred's statement, but praises him for his clever sarcasm. Grims mentions that he's getting old now and that if it were today, he might choose to handle things privately. Grims doesn't blame his younger self for the decision he made. His old friend had made a mistake, and Grims guided him towards the truth. It was painful for Grims as well, and even now, he sometimes dreams about his old friend. Upon hearing the story, Fred stated that he would not be influenced. He would resolve the terrorism issue in his own way. Grims then patted Fred on the back, reassuring him to come back alive. Fred, however, shrugged off Grims' hand from his shoulder, as if no longer trusting Grims. As Fred exited Grims' room, Grims commented that Fred was someone similar to himself. The scene then shifted to Max's residence, where Mao and Xenia were having a conversation. Xenia reported that she needed more time to analyze the situation. Mao seemed understanding and agreed. Shortly after, Max emerged from the bathroom looking dejected and pale. Mao asked him if his stomach was okay after yesterday's incident. Max appeared deeply saddened, tears streaming down his face. Mao was genuinely concerned for Max, as she had never seen him cry like this before. Mao unintentionally noticed Max's cell phone in his hand and was shocked to see it. It turned out Max had been crying because he lost 89,000 yen in gambling. Mao scolded him severely, unable to comprehend why Max would gamble when he was currently unemployed. Max accepted Mao's words and promised to be more careful in the future. Without hesitation, Max asked Mao for money, and Mao said she would only give him 50,000 yen for now. Xenia immediately reprimanded Mao, as she was still giving money to Max for gambling. Mao then said that it was not the time for gambling and directed them to watch the television broadcast. All the news there was discussing the terrorist attack on the kingdom. The kingdom's representatives declared they would not remain passive in this case. In interviews with civilians, it was evident that they were expecting the heroes to take action regarding this terrorism case, and the heroes would be held responsible for it. Max, offended by what he saw on the news, felt it was not his responsibility. Max decided to leave, and Mao followed him, telling Xenia that she allowed Max to go alone because there was a chance he might spend more money on gambling. While walking alongside Mao, Max appeared dazed and lacked enthusiasm for life. He walked like a zombie. Mao was puzzled by Max's demeanor and took the initiative to ask if there was a place he wanted to visit right now. Max replied that if he went alone, there might be a place he'd like to go. Mao suggested that they could go to that place together, and Max could also use the money in Mao's savings. However, Max still refused and didn't want to go to that place with Mao. Mao protested, asking why Max didn't like walking with her. Max responded that it wasn't a place suitable for visiting with others. Mao retorted that she wasn't a person but a demon lord. Max, of course, didn't accept that argument. Human or demon, it wouldn't make a difference. Mao then suddenly slapped Max and asserted that she wasn't just a demon, but a demon lord. Suddenly, a young girl greeted the two of them and immediately addressed Max, asking if she was his girlfriend. It turned out the little girl had played soccer with Max in the park some time ago. The little girl then showed Max a racket because she wanted to play badminton with him. Initially, Max refused because he found it tiring, but Mao persuaded him, saying it was better and healthier than gambling. Finally, Max agreed, and they played badminton in the park. However, Max did it half-heartedly and just let the girl win. The little girl told Max to play seriously, and he eventually did, playing fair with her. When the little girl got a bit tired, she handed her racket to Mao and asked her to play badminton with Max. Mao agreed, and Max whispered to her not to use her powers. Initially, they both played badminton casually without using their powers. But as they played, they chatted, and Mao began to bring up the fact that Max no longer cared about his friends who would be going to war and might die. Max responded with a bit of emotion, and they both eventually played badminton, using their respective powers. The little girl who had been watching them could only admire them greatly. After they finished playing badminton and retired, the little girl gave Max a candy as a gift. The scene shifts to Fred, who is getting ready to commence the attack with the royal army. The captain, Galmoth, gives instructions to Fred not to act on his own. Galmoth wants his troops to advance first. However, Fred immediately refuses and asks the royal army to stay put and guard all the media and civilian areas, preventing them from entering. Of course, Galmoth rejects this request, as it would make him and his troops mere spectators. Galmoth also argues that he is the leader of this military operation. Fred is told to be silent and follow orders. However, Fred immobilizes him with his power, rendering Galmoth helpless. Fred no longer cares about his position. What matters to him now is to finish this. The Republic uses a powerful barrier spell to protect the border wall. But Fred, with his power, can destroy the wall with a single attack. Everyone there is naturally amazed by Fred's strength. Fred then warns that no one should cross this boundary. He then leaps and flies directly into the Republic's territory, where a loud explosion and light are immediately seen, presumably Fred's magical attack. Grims is seen in a room watching the news covering the incident. She casually watches, muttering that if Leo is defeated, the Republic will crumble. As Grims watches the broadcast calmly, she is startled by a woman who informs her that the event is being live-streamed on PooCube. Someone using a drone has entered the Republic's area and is broadcasting the events live. Grims is shocked because all media outlets were not supposed to be allowed into the area. From the live broadcast, everyone can see how Fred defeats anyone who tries to obstruct him. Naturally, Kingdom's higher-ups suspect Grims of provoking Fred and intentionally broadcasting it for all to see. But Grims firmly denies the accusations. The scene shifts to the direction of the drone, which is being controlled by two people in the Republic's forest. They have prepared 7,700 accounts and are willing to camp in the forest to execute their plan, live-streaming the events from within the Republic's area. The drone pilot actually knows that Fred is aware of the drone recording him. The person assumes that Fred will destroy the drone with his magic power. However, that's not the case. Fred just lets it be. Naturally, the male drone pilot is suspicious because Kingdom should not allow this event to be live-streamed. But Fred chooses to allow it. Finally, within the Republic's territory, Fred encountered Leo. Fred threw a small stone to get Leo's attention and immediately commented on Leo's long hair. Leo greeted Fred and initiated a casual conversation about his subordinates whom Fred had incapacitated. Leo also mentioned that he had recently met Max. Leo noticed that they were being recorded by a drone. Fred offered Leo to destroy the drone if he didn't like being recorded. However, Leo chose to assist the drone in recording them by clearing the trees around them. Fred then continued by raising the ground around them, creating a ring-like arena for the two of them. Anyone watching the live broadcast was undoubtedly amazed by their incredible powers. Everyone couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. In the arena they had created, it seemed that the two of them were beginning to get serious for a fight. What would happen next? Would they really fight each other to the death?